You send a message. You wait. An hour passes. You check. Nothing. You tell yourself it doesn't matter, but you check again anyway, and again. You're not waiting for a reply. You're waiting for the world to cooperate. And every time it doesn't, you lose a little more control. Marcus Aurelius saw this pattern 1,800 years ago. The need for cooperation. The fragility it creates. The punishment it guarantees. Meditations isn't a philosophy book. It is a private journal written by a Roman emperor who had infinite power over others and zero power over fate, disease, betrayal, or death. He didn't write it to teach. He wrote it to survive. This isn't advice. It's a working system for psychological durability when everything you care about is outside your control. Aurelius divides the world into two categories: things you control and things you don't. You don't control outcomes. You don't control other people. You don't control markets, weather, health, reputation, or whether your work gets recognized. You control one thing: your judgment about what happens. Most people reverse this. They try to control outcomes and let their judgment be controlled by results. That's the inversion. And it's why they break. Mini case study number 1. Work. You send the proposal. You did the work, but the client ghosts. You check email 40 times. You rewrite the follow-up. You're refreshing LinkedIn to see if they viewed your message. You're not working anymore. You're begging reality to validate your effort. And when it doesn't, you call it bad luck. Mini case study number 2. Money. You buy the stock. You did the research. But the market drops 15%. You check the price. You check again. You tell yourself it's a long-term hold, but you're refreshing the app every hour. You're not investing, you're negotiating with probability, and probability doesn't negotiate. Mini case study number 3, relationships. You text. You wait. 3 hours, no reply. You tell yourself it's fine, but you're writing scenarios. Maybe they're mad. Maybe they're done. Maybe you said the wrong thing. You're not communicating. You're hostage to someone else's notification settings. The pattern is the same. You need the world to cooperate. And when it doesn't, your stability collapses. I've spent years doing this, thinking that if I just worked 10% harder, I could force the universe to say yes. But Aurelius saw the gap, because we're taught that effort creates outcome. Work hard, you get results. Be kind and be liked. Do good work, you get rewarded. The formula feels true, but Aurelius saw the gap. Effort influences probability. It doesn't control outcome. You can do everything right and still lose because other people have incentives. Luck exists, and systems don't care about fairness. The Roman Empire taught him this daily. He fought wars he didn't start. He dealt with plagues he couldn't stop. He trusted allies who betrayed him. None of it was his fault. All of it was his problem. So he built a system where his peace didn't depend on winning. Culture hides this. We're rewarded for caring about outcomes. That's called ambition. We're punished for not caring. That's called apathy. So we optimize for control we don't have. We call it hustle. We call it manifesting. We call it growth mindset. But the Roman emperor with absolute power still couldn't control whether his son would be competent, whether his body would stay healthy, or whether Rome would survive him. If he couldn't control outcomes, what chance do you have? And yet, he didn't collapse. He didn't burn out. He didn't quit, because his system didn't require the world to cooperate. Most people build their identity around desired outcomes. I'm successful if I get promoted. I'm valuable if people respond. I'm smart if the market agrees with me. Aurelius built his identity around quality of judgment. Did I respond with clarity or reactivity? Did I act with virtue or ego? Did I waste energy on things I don't control? The first identity is hostage. The second is durable. The first breaks when reality doesn't cooperate. The second doesn't need cooperation. Here's the trap. Trying harder doesn't fix this. In fact, effort makes it worse if effort is still aimed at controlling outcomes. You work 80-hour weeks to force the promotion. You optimize every email to force the reply. You track every macro to force the body to cooperate. But the outcome still isn't yours. The effort just makes the loss hurt more. Aurelius inverts it. Effort belongs on judgment. Outcomes are none of your business. You control the quality of your work. You don't control whether it gets recognized. You control the honesty of your communication. You don't control how it's received. You control your training. You don't control your genetics, injuries, or age. Trying harder at the wrong target is just expensive suffering. Durability isn't about avoiding loss. It's about staying functional through loss. Aurelius watched his children die. He fought wars that didn't end. He dealt with betrayal, plague, and enemies inside his own government. He lost more than most people will ever risk. And yet, Meditations has no bitterness.
No collapse. No why me?
Because his system doesn't require winning. It requires only one thing, that you keep choosing your response. The stoic long game isn't control outcomes and you'll be happy. It's stop needing outcomes to cooperate and you become difficult to break. That's not optimism. That's architecture. Aurelius didn't write lists, but his system gives you filters. Filter 1. Is this inside my control? If no, then it's not your problem to solve. It's your problem to accept. Filter 2. Am I suffering because of the event or because of my judgment about the event? Most suffering is the story you tell about what happened, not what happened. Filter 3. If this outcome never comes, can I still be stable? If no, then you've built fragility. Redesign. You don't need to practice stoicism. You need to stop outsourcing your stability to things you don't control. The world will not cooperate, not with your timeline, not with your effort, not with your deserving. Marcus Aurelius had the power to execute anyone who disobeyed him, and he still couldn't make reality bend. You won't either. The only question is whether you build a system that breaks when it doesn't or one that doesn't need it to.